Welcome to the Intercontinental GT3 series from Suzuka. This is round 3 of the championship, and we have just kicked off the qualifying effort here. Got some interesting cars on the grid today. We got a Mustang, which I don't think we've seen a lot of prior to this. We got a couple of Z06s, which is interesting. We've got another Mustang further down. That's Tony Santa Clara, who has been here before in the Mustang. And of course, you have your normal mix of the Audis and Mercedes-Benzes. We also have a couple of Porsches, maybe just one. Two Porsches. Evgeny Lazarenko and Martin Oliveira, representing the 911 brand. So Suzuka, of course, I believe this is the GP, the full layout of the Suzuka track. Very challenging track. A lot of different high-speed corners, some corners that are low-speed, high braking zones. A lot of throttle control, particularly in the early sector, through the curves, the S's, as it were. Of course, historical track in some fortunate ways and some negative ways. This, of course, is I do believe the most recent fatality in F1 occurred here. Joel Bianchi, who of course, died much later on. But also some fantastic races. This is where the 1999 world title was decided in favor of Mika Hakkinen, and where Eddie Irvine's really only hope of ever winning an F1 world title came to an end. That season, of course, Michael Schumacher broke his leg and was forced to miss a considerable amount of time. Suzuka is, it's on the bucket list, I think, for almost anyone. Maybe, quite possibly, the most famous track you're going to find in Asia. I'm not sure why it's claiming this is Simon Omal, because that is not. I believe that is actually Stephen Cross in the Callaway C7 Corvette. So, not sure what's going on with the naming. We can try swapping to a different car, and maybe that will fix the problem. This here is Mike Stockmill in the lovely black and silver Corvette Z06. A lot of the old school Z06s on the grid here. You've got Mike Stockmill, you have Paul Riccobeni, you have Travis Wallace, which I guess is not as many as I was maybe selling it. Oh, and Simeon Naku. So maybe not as many as I was selling it to be, but 4 out of a 23-car grid being the legacy Corvette is interesting. And we'll see how they can do here. Of course, the main car that I would rate the highest is the Mercedes AMG, which has a couple of very impressive drivers in it, such as Honey Carth, João Castanheira, Leo Barcelos, are all in there, as well as Orlando Telhero, who has done very well in the past as well. A couple of new faces on the grid, Rafaelite, Simeon Naku. I don't believe they have made their debut in this series before. I'm not sure if Alvar Gomez Cuesta, who's driving an Audi, is new to the grid or not. I have raced him a couple of times, so I'm familiar with him, but not sure if he's making his Intercontinental debut here. Of course, no hometown talent, unlike the heavy amount we had at Portimao. Mike Stockmill coming across the line now to set the pace at a 2:03. Simon Omal moving up faster at 0.610. And then it is further back, Barcelos, Castanheira, Carth, Stephen Cross coming across the line. He is 6th quickest. And we will wait for a couple of the other faster cars to come around. Like I said, 23 cars on the grid, so plenty of guys yet to stake a claim. Simeon Naku comes across the line, or doesn't. Looks like he's just starting a time lap on this one. Here comes the Nissan. Okay, we've not seen a Nissan on the grid before, so here comes Zarai Garunian. We'll see what he can do. So eyes on Zarai. Big Nissan fan, pondering that as my GT3 entry to 3D Speed next season in the winter season. So that'll be something I'm very keen to see about. Here is the current pole sitter. That is Simon Omel. I believe Simon's a new face to the grid. Spanish driver. Not certain where he's from. Presumably linked to the other Spanish and Portuguese drivers on the grid in terms of community. But we'll have to see how well he can do in the race. The Mustang is absolutely a beast in a straight line. Not great at corners. You maybe saw a little bit of the reason why there. But he appears to be putting up a very consistent time. He was within a tenth of a second of his pole time as of Sector 2. We'll see if Sector 3 produces anything that he can better that time with. And he is about 6/10 ahead of Mike Stockman, so he's having a pretty good time right at the moment. Coming across the line. And indeed, he does improve by 9 thousandths of a second. Honey Gakarth goes third quickest in the Mercedes. So you can see the Mercedes is forming a nice little group there. Paul Riccobeni comes across the line in 7th place. Zerai Garunian's put up his time, and it is good enough for 8th quickest at the moment. Travis Wallace is in the mix there. There's Paulo Otoni going the first Audi to post a lap time there in 8th place. Alvar Gomez Cuesta also crossed the line, 11th quickest. And we still have 11 cars that have not posted a time, including some very quick drivers in Vlad Tatara, Orlando Telhero, Ellison Flazino, Evgeny Lazarenko, of course. Zerai Garunian has got a personal best going on here, but he is about 1.5 seconds off a pole. Still could make a run at maybe a deeper spot in the top 10, though. Depending on how much faster he is than his previous time as he comes across the line. And does improve to a 9th place, but he lost 4/10 in that last sector. Still moves ahead of Vlad Tatara, who has put up his time. There's Jonta Mendez Alves is in. Martin Oliveira moving into the top 10. Stephen Cross is the man we are with now. Callaway C7. I think this is actually the only Callaway C7, which is a bit surprising. This is a very good car. One of the more advanced in the grid. He was 1/10 off in Sector 1, so he's looking pretty good to improve upon that time. Currently sitting 1.4 seconds off a pole. One would think that he should be able to get within a second if he's within a 10th through Sector 1. But it could be another sector. Yeah, there it is. He lost 8/10 in Sector 2. So Sector 2 is the Achilles heel for the Callaway by the looks of it. Let's see if he can turn into good Sector 3 and improve his time. I feel like he will improve his time. He's 6th place right now, 1.4 off. I think he should be able to improve his time, but I don't know if he's going to get into the top 5. And he does. Actually, a very good, very good 3rd sector from Stephen Cross. Actually faster than the pole sitter. Moves him into briefly 3rd, and now 4th is Ellison Flazino taking over 3rd place there. Mike Stockmill currently 4/10 of a second off the pole. So not likely to improve his position in 2nd place right now, but maybe closing up to the pole sitter. Assuming he doesn't lose a couple of tenths in his 3rd sector, and across the line he goes. Does cut the gap down to 0.396 to the pole sitter Simon O'Mill. Jonta Mendez Alves coming across the line. He's got a personal best going, 1.5 off a pole position. He's currently 2.3 off in 14th place. So this could threaten a top 10 for Alves as he comes across the line. And can he do it? He can! Moves into 9th place, 1.8 off of pole position. Excuse me a moment. I have a Discord message that I must read, so just enjoy the sights and sounds of Suzuka. Okay, back, although I may be interrupted again. Ellison Flazino coming across the line. He had a purple first sector, but the second sector was not kind. Not kind at all, and neither was the third sector, so Flazino looks like he may have two pretty uncompetitive sectors. Mike Stockmill also had a purple first sector. Personal best second sector. He is stuck, however, behind one of the Mercedeses. Let me see if I can figure out who that is. It might be Orlando Telharo by the livery. You never know with that Zach Speed Mobile Oil one. Although, yeah, even with the slowdown, got within a tenth of pole. Not great work there for Telharo, who just disappeared after that. So a little bit rude, but 8th quickest for Telharo as well. João Castanheira currently in 7th place, just a little bit over a second off pole. He's got a purple first sector. So O'Mill's first sector was apparently not great. So look for the Mustang to maybe have some additional time that he can pick up, because I'm seeing a lot of purple first sectors being thrown down. Let's see if Castanheira here, the second sector, will be more key on doing this. I'm going to actually throw up the lap map for you guys here in a second. Assuming the future will work, but the track map appears to not be working. So apologies there, everybody. Looks like our track map will not be an option. I've noticed that it's not been functioning terribly well in this version of Race Spectator. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. Castanheira unable to improve his time. Actually, a fair bit off. We're pretty much down to the last lap or so that anyone's going to be able to get in with 2.5 minutes to go here. Ellison Flazino coming across the line. Again, a very good first sector, but unable to deliver in Sector 2 or Sector 3. Was Flazino. Still good enough for 3rd place, so, you know, he's got something going for him, but very much off the top 2. Here is Ricardo Cardoso, who's coming across the line. He's one of the tail enders, and no improvement for Cardoso. Still waiting for a lap time from Rafael Leet, who is 23rd place right now. And we have apparently lost somebody, because we dropped down to 22 cars. Unfortunately, I am not familiar enough with the field to tell you who we have lost. Paul Riccobeni may be looking for an improved time here. He's currently 9th, 1.7 off of pole position, and was 1.2 off at the second sector. So assuming he can put together a decent 3rd here, yes he can. Up into 8th he goes, though quite a ways off of Castanheira. So there's kind of some mini battle shaping up here. O'Mill and Stockmill at the front of the pack, and then from about Flazino back to Castanheira are relatively close, and then it's a group from Riccobeni, Telharo. We lost somebody from the top end. Somebody who's in the top 5 just vanished. Not sure who. Here he is, Rafael Leite. He's the only guy who has not posted a lap time. He is in the old school Mercedes. That's the SLS prior generation. Alvar Gomez Cuesta coming around the track here. Alvar, you got to show up for some 3D speed racing there, my friend. You signed up, and we've not seen you. Very disappointed. We got 2 rounds left in the championship at Motegi and Road America for those interested. So there is your grid, pending any last-second ones. Simon O'Mill will start ahead of Mike Stockmill, Ellison Flazino, Hania Karth, Leo Barcelos, João Castanheira, Paul Riccobeni, Orlando Telharo, Jonte Mendez Alves, Paulo Otoni, Zarai Garanian, João Oliveira, Martin Oliveira, Vlad Tatar, Travis Wall, Simeon Neku, Alvar Gomez Cuesta, Yevgeny Lazarenko, Ricardo Corduso, Nuno Miguel, and as we said, Rafael Leite. And it was Stephen Cross was one of the disconnectors. He just has joined back up, but will have to start from the back in his Callaway C7. So look for Stephen Cross to be a guy who can make some ground up. 2 minutes of warm-up. I hope you guys can enjoy that. I'm going to get a quick beverage refill, so enjoy the sights and sounds of Suzuka once again. So while I'm here, I might as well pimp the ESR community a little bit. ESR is a racing community specializing in North American racers, but South Americans are also welcome, as well as Europeans, Australians, New Zealanders. We have racers from every continent in the world, actually, aside from Antarctica. We have a couple South Americans, including a couple who are actually in this race here, have raced with us, so, you know, it's something to keep in mind. As well as, of course, a number of Europeans, such as Simeon Naku, who is raising under the Canadian flag here today. So, oh Canada, Simeon, go for it. And even Africans such as Noel Khan and African extraction Rochelle Garin, who is South African by heritage and birth and is Canadian now. And we run races on Tuesday nights in Race Room, as well as Wednesday nights and Saturdays. Sundays are given over to ACC Assetto Corsa Competizione. And we also have an Academy series that runs Saturdays in Race Room, as well as Tuesday night R Factor League. And I believe we have one slated to start coming up in Friday. We also have some various attempts to get Dirt Rally going on. I don't think it's been terribly successful, but certainly if you're looking for Dirt Rally and want to hop around, there are some people who would be more than happy to take you up on that offer. And they are off right on board with Hani Hikart as he heads down to turn 1 behind Ellison and Flazino. Mike Stockmill there at the front along with Simon Olive. A little bit of problems for João Castanheira. He is off. Somebody else is off with him. Did not catch who that was, other than it's another Mercedes, possibly that of Leo Barcelos. So Hani Hikart survives to run in 4th ahead of Paul Riccobeni in the Z06 Corvette. Orlando Telhero, Jonta Mendez Alves, Rai Garunian. Simeon Naku is up to 9th place. A fantastic start by Simeon. And Vlad Tatara, your top 10. We are focusing on Ellison Flazino, who is in 3rd position at the moment, and is off the track. So fantastic time to think of that. Hani Hikart promoted up into 3rd. The storm of destruction that surrounds Hani Hikart is powerful stuff. Interesting to see someone in a Mustang take the fight to Mike Stockmill. Of course, Mike Stockmill, 3D Speed, the Wednesday Series' championship leader in a Mustang. So interesting to see him get beaten up on here. There's another of ESR's entries. The ESR entries are favoring the Z06 here today, although Stephen Cross is rocking a Callaway C7, so very, very Corvette heavy. Evgeny Lazarenko is the lone dissenter in a Porsche. Alvar Gomez Cuesta, speaking of Yevgeny, there he is up there in 10th place. Alvar is swapping paint with Nuno Miguel, who's gotten off to a great start there in the Lincoln Park Mercedes and is up to 11th place as he secures it from Alvar Gomez Cuesta. Behind them, it's João Castanheira scrabbling with Stephen Cross. So Stephen Cross looks like he has damage, and let's go have a look at his car real quick. Indeed, Stephen Cross is sans a front end this early in the race. Maybe he would ponder making a pit stop. This is 1 hour long, and driving for 57 minutes on that damaged front. Indeed, here he is in the pits. Joining him in the pit lane is, I believe that is Travis Wallace. So bad luck for the ESR crew on that one. It is the 9 Shiza boys, Stephen Cross and Travis Wallace in the pit lane. Also in the pit lane is Paolo Otoni. Paolo's actually out of the race by the looks of it. So it's Leo Barcelos who's the other one getting repairs. Leo Barcelos, is it a front end problem? It appears to be a front end problem as well there. So a couple of missing front ends here have forced some early pit stops from Cross, Wallace, Barcelos. Ricardo Cardoso is also apparently in the pit lane. Yep, he's getting his front end fixed as well as João Oliveira in the Super Barn Audi entry. So a lot of pit stops early on. That could complicate things later in the race. Simon Olaf continues to lead. Mike Stoffmill, Hania Card, Paul Riccobeni, and Orlando Tejero doing very well up there in 5th position. This is Vlad and Tatara. Drive-through penalty speeding in the pit lane for Stephen Cross, so things getting worse for the lone Callaway C7. He had to start at the back of the pack. Lost his front end, making his way up to 14th position. Had to make a pit stop to get it fixed, and now has incurred a speeding in the pit lane penalty. It is not over for him, though. He has an amazing speed, and he does have 50-plus minutes, which he'll work out to being somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 laps to make things happen. Zerai Garunian in the Nissan GTR, the Beast, the Godzilla as it is known. One of the two left-hand or right-hand drive cars in the field. None of the Bentleys, pardon me, so he is the only one, but the Bentley Continental is also right-hand drive, absent from this grid. Nuno Miguel still having a pretty good day. He's tucked up behind that Simeon Naku in the Corvette ahead of him, and the Porsche of Yevgeny Lazarenko. Very nice looking Porsche. I do like that mega racing Porsche. Zerai Garunian is, who's that easy trailing? It's Vlad Tatara in the Audi. So the two Ukrainians, two of the Ukrainians are together. And we are losing cars very rapidly. We're down to 13 cars. What has happened? Could see something with the server, maybe? Because I do see a number of cars dropping out of this race. Alvar Gomez Cuesta is now suddenly up into 6th position. Simon Ullman is gone. He's one of them. We lost a bunch of others like João Castanheira as well. Are we getting a signal for a restart after all the damage on the first lap? What is going on here? The grid is shrunk to 12 running cars, and that includes Pablo Ottoni, who's out of the race. So we're down to 11 cars unless we're getting a restart here. Disqualified speeding in the pit lane, Stephen Cross. So Stephen Cross also done. That puts us down to 10. What is going on here? Yevgeny Lazarenko is suddenly up into 4th position behind Simeon Naku. It's a Z06123 because they survived. Basically, Lazarenko, Nuno Miguel are still running. Alvar Gomez Cuesta, Martin Oliveira, Rafael Litt still running, Travis Wallace, and João Oliveira. That's it. Just 10 cars. So I'm waiting for a signal possibly from race control in this regard. I will make an inquiry on Discord. So we'll keep covering it as if this is the race until I am informed something from race control in terms of possible restarts. By the way, Alvar Gomez Cuesta clearly carrying a little bit of damage there on the front end. It's not registering on the Racing Spectator as actual damage. So perhaps we can safely assume that his car is running at full speed. But that front end is definitely a little bit misshapen as he moves into 5th position ahead of Nuno Miguel. So after all that talk about the Mercedes' potential dominance, we're down to only 2 of them. And one is the older Mercedes, the SLS of Rafael Litt, who is in 8th place, one of the... Actually, we have a lot of the cars remaining are actually, of course, legacy cars. Because, of course, you have the 4 Z06s in addition to the legacy Mercedes driven by Rafael Litt. So a full 5 cars of the 10 running are legacy models. Prior generation, which 3D Speed, quick chat about that, will probably be moving to the legacy models for the Winter Cup. Due to the predominance of basically Mercedes, AMG, and Audi being really the 2 cars to be in. Yevgeny Lazarenko makes his way around. Simeon Naku Interesting move there. Simeon is very, very slow at the moment. I'm wondering if he has a problem. But he seems to have gotten back up to pace now, but he had a very, very bad run through that chicane. And that's going to expose him to Alvar Gomez Cuesta and Nuno Miguel in the Audi and the Mercedes. Sorry for the little drop in grid, everybody, but it does look like this one is going to go to the finish. Just 10 cars remaining. Mike Stockmill was going to have a battle with Simon O'Mill, I thought, but now he's, well, he's got a arch nemesis in 3D speed, Paul Riccobeni, behind him. And Yevgeny Lazarenko, another ESR guy, as well as Simeon Naku. So a dominance from ESR by virtue of retaining their retaining connection to the server. It appears. Travis Wallace, also from ESR, in the mix, down in ninth place. He had to, of course, pit stop earlier on. We'll see if his Z06 comes into play later on in the race. I'll tell you what brands really benefited off this, though. Corvette with the Z06s, but also a Porsche. The only two Porsches have survived and are running in 3rd and 7th place. So, you know, that works out. Yevgeny Lazarenko and Martin Oliveira. João Oliveira being shown as in the pit lane. I hope he's just getting service for some damage. Otherwise, we're down to 9 running cars. We are down to 9 running cars. João Oliveira out of the race. Bit of an odd move. You think with only 10 cars running, you would do your damnedest to stay in the fight, but João Oliveira has parked it. May not have had a choice. May have had a very hard collision somewhere on track that left him with no choice but to retire the car. Simeon Naku continues to try to re-hunt down Yevgeny Lazarenko. He had that really, really slow run through the chicane, which Lazarenko got around him on. Seems to have recovered. It doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the car. Just must be driver error or a temporary thing there for Simeon Naku. Simeon, a very, very solid race car driver, of course. Won a runner-up in 3D speed last season. Did not win a race, but was amazingly consistent. Front of the pack material while running Was he running an Audi? I don't remember what he was actually running now. What his choice of car is. He's running a Z06 in the current championship, but it was definitely not a Z06 at the time. I think it was either an Audi or a Porsche. So it's Lazarenko there in 3rd ahead of Naku. Then it's Alvar Gomez Cuesta and Nuno Miguel in the shot at the background there. Nuno Miguel, by the way, a guy who has been qualifying near the back, running near the back. So you know what? I'm going to take a look on the bright side here and go with, you know what? Nuno Miguel's getting a chance to run in the top 10. Yes, it's a very, very small top 10, but he is getting to run in 6th place. He is going to get some attention here and a lot of positive light here, commentary-wise. Lead at the front is more or less stabilized. Seems at about 4.5 to 4.6 seconds between Mike Stockmill and Paul Riccobeni. Although, as I say that, Riccobeni is taking a chunk out of him there for a bit. And then it rolls back up, so obviously the ebbs and flows of the track are going to impact the gap there. Looks like maybe anywhere from about 4 to 5 seconds, depending on the relative parts of the track. Simeon Naku in the Delahaye Racing entry. Still running in a solid 4th position. Although that is last of the non-pit stopping Z06s. Travis Wallace has overtaken Raphael Late. It looks like Late may be out of the race, though. And indeed, it does look like it. They are dropping like flies here today. We're down to 8 cars of a field that was at 1.23. Does it mean we can't have some good racing as Simeon Naku kind of, honestly think he might have chickened out there about going side by side with Lazarenko. Lazarenko has always got a ton of nerve. And into the chicane we go, and Alvar Gomez Cuestas smells a little something. You can see how misshapen that wheel well is. But he is showing no damage on the set. By the way, it has to be said, Rafael Leighton and João Oliveira both don't show any damage. So I'm not sure why they have retired. Is there some kind of protest going on with the Brazilian drivers about wanting to restart or something? I don't know. It's very, very confusing at the moment. I would say it's not unreasonable. Again, we lost 10 cars in vast succession from this race due to presumably some kind of internet difficulty. So rather than contact! I'm not showing any damage between Naku and Gomez Cuesta, but Gomez Cuesta showing his impatience, getting a little bit into the back end of Simeon Naku. Fastest man on the track last lap around with a 2:02.1 was Paul Riccobeni. They are considerably off of the overall paces. Of course, Mike Stockman posted a 2:07 earlier in the race. He is losing ground now to Riccobeni, so maybe just coasting out front, to be honest. He's got a good lead. No need to push super hard for the Dutch driver. No one's super close together happening. Travis Wallace has dropped way back. What is up, Travis? No damage to the car, but he is 1.5 minutes behind Martin Oliveira. There's a car directly ahead of him. Not sure who that is. Apparently, it's not Martin Oliveira. Appears like it might be another Z06. Maybe that of... Oh, indeed, I can confirm. It is Paul Riccobeni, so he's dropped down a lap. I know he pit stopped it earlier, but I'm not sure why the sudden drop in pace being demonstrated by Travis Wallace right now. There was the race leader briefly there, Mike Stockmill being chased by Paul Riccobeni. The gap is closing, but I'm struggling to think of it. Oh, whoa, Simeon Naku, what's up, Simeon? He's parked it. Gomez Cuesta is through. Nuno Miguel is through. Simeon is just parked at the side of the road. What's going on here with the Canadian transplant from Moldova, Simeon Naku? We'll see if he gets going. We've also lost Martin Oliveira, who is shown as off track and potentially in the pit lane. Indeed, he is out. So we are down to possibly as few as 6 cars. Not sure what's going on. I must say that this is the weirdest race I have ever covered. It looks like we're down to 6 cars, as Martin Oliveira has ended his race, as has Simeon Naku. I don't know what's going on here. I've not gotten any word of a restart planned or anything like that, unless they're voting by pulling off the track. Which to me seems easier just to maybe make an announcement on the matter about this, guys. So, race control, get your act together. I mean, I'll take it. ESR has 4 of the 6 surviving cars, including the top 3. But I don't know what to make of this. Off in the background in the barrier is Travis Wallace. I have jinxed the ESR man. The last of the 9 shots is gone. Mike Stockmill pulls off. I think we can safely assume that this is a restarted race at some point here. We're down to just Paul Riccobeni, so indeed, I think we will call. I think this is being called. I think it's being called. There's Paul Riccobeni pulling off to the side of the road. I've not received word as to what the plan is here, but I don't even know if that just can't even be the result, frankly. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I am getting word. We are getting a new server here, so I will be back with you as soon as I can. You know what? I'll probably just leave this in because this was comical. Alright, it's qualifying take 2 here at Suzuka for the Intercontinental GT Championship round number 3. Looks like most of the grid, if not all of the grid, is back. I am mistaken. 1 car has not made it back. There are 21 cars. There had been 22 before. Let's see if I can work out who it is. I'm afraid that I am not able to work out who may be missing. Oh, you know who it is? It's Simon Olive. Simon Olive, who was the pole sitter from the original race. So he is absent at the moment, and it looks like I'm getting word from race control that this will be a shortened qualifying session where they will start the race after 10 minutes. This is what I'm being told. We'll see if that is the case. This has been a little bit of a rough day. I'm not sure what the nature of the problem was. I think definitely we can probably safely assume that it was a issue with the server in some way that caused a number of cars to rapidly drop from the race. So this will be a pressure cooker of qualifying with Travis Wallace and Stephen Cross still in the pit lane. So I hope they haven't gone to use the bathroom or something, because it may cost them a qualifying time and force them to start from the back of the pack, because there's not a lot of time. I mean, this is about a 2-minute lap, and from what I'm being told, there's only about 7.5 minutes left in qualifying. I could be getting the wrong information, though, and they may honestly be fine. Simeon Naku we are riding with. Ahead of him, it's the Nissan of Zerai Garanian. No one has posted a lap time yet, but I would put money on Mike Stopmill to be your pole sitter. But the man who looks like he'll post the first time is Martin Oliveira in the Porsche. He's got a 50.587 in Sector 1, which currently shows as purple. He is now heading through Sector 2. And we'll see what that produces for him. Let's see if I get the track map to work. Track map. Track map is working this time! Nice! So there you can see where everyone is. At the moment you can see there are 2 cars in the pit lane. Oliveira is heading down the long... it's not a straight because you can see there's a turn there and so on. But it is more or less flat out through that sector, and you'll hit the chicane and then the final turn. And I have a text message on my phone, so give me 1 second, please. Double purple sector for Ronnie Ricard, so he's looking promising. So the early pole goes to, surprisingly not Martin Oliveira. What happened to his lap time? Hani Akart, Vlad Tatara, oh, no, never mind, Leo Barcelos, Nuno Miguel, Simeon Naku, all in the bunch right now. It was just my cell phone company telling me that my bill is ready. So not good news, everybody! Guess you're rooting for me to pay money. Still no sign of the 9 Shiza boys coming out of the pit lane, so maybe Travis Wall, Stephen Cross not going to get involved in the rush to put up a lap here. Maybe they do not know, because like I said, I'm being told that this is going to be cut short at the 10-minute mark here, and we're going to head into the race. We'll see what happens. I do know we're looking at a late start, that is for sure. Jonte Mendez Alves currently showing in 7th place, doing quite well. Mike Stopmill not on pole, but rather 0.05 of a second off of Hani Hakart, and not really near what his pace that he showed before is, so let's have a look. In fact, he is in the pit lane, so that might be him conceding the run at the moment. He had an invalid lap there. No, he's hopping back out now. So he's going to try for it. I don't know if that'll work, though, with the rumored advancement here at the 10-minute mark. Nelson Flazino and Leo Barcelos have gone faster than Hani Hakarth. And an improvement there from Jonte Alves up to 8th position. Still have a number of cars that have not posted a lap time and 2 that have not left the pit lane. And this is João Oliveira. He is one of those that has not posted a lap time yet. And here's Yevgeny Lazarenko. His first attempt was not great. And this one's not looking great either. A very poor first sector. Second sector was okay. And was better than his previous one, but the third sector is not going to help him out either. So Yevgeny Lazarenko is still 14th place at the moment, and that is second last of those who have posted a lap time. We're still waiting on a number of quicker drivers to post a lap time. Ellison Flazino has just put up a purple first sector, so he is in the mix at the moment. Someone just popped up there as well with a lap time from the back. That'll probably mess up. That'll definitely mess up the lap time. Okay, so Ellison, I do think you're bettering your lap on this one. But he probably won't have enough time to start another one. He's got an Audi coming up behind him. I believe that is Vlad Tatara. He will let him through. I can indeed confirm that is Vlad Tatara, the 10th place car. Somebody off in the dirt there. That must be Tatara. Didn't quite make it out, though. Still 4 cars. Those are Paulo Ottoni, Zerai Garunian, and the 9 Shiza boys, Stephen Cross and Travis Wallace, yet to post a lap time. And 2 of those are not even on the track. Ottoni just comes through in 15th position, so he got his lap in. We'll see what Zerai Garunian can do as well. Hani Karth here, 3rd place, purple first sector. Second sector, 3/10 off at the moment. Still could better his lap time, though, as he is currently a half second off of pole. Garunian just went 12th quickest, so he has made it. Nothing from the 9 Shiza boys. And Hakarth comes across the line, moving into 2nd position behind Ellison Flazino, jumping Leo Barcelos. Here's Mike Stockmill. He has a purple first sector going, so he would be a pole contender, but I don't think he has enough time. He's apparently only got about 10 seconds left. We'll see if they do this. They do the skip to the race at this point. Gerardo Del Vea, who I don't think was even in on the first bit, is up into 5th place. So Gerardo, welcome to the grid. He's up to 6th, pardon me. And still fastest 2 purple sectors for Mike Stockmill, and he comes across the line. It is past the 10-minute mark, but they apparently are letting it go. And he is on to the pole position there for Mike Stockmill in the Corvette. Leo Barcelos has got a purple first sector going, but did not look good through the hairpin there and appears to be slowed. Indeed, we head to the warm-up, so they let a little bit extra time in. Mike Stockmill is your pole sitter. 2nd on the grid, Ellison Flazino. 3rd, Hani Yakarth. 4th, Leo Barcelos. 5th, Paul Riccobeni. 6th, Gerardo Del 7th, João Castanheira. 8th, Martin Oliveira. 9th, Orlando Telhero. 10th, Jonta Mendez Alves. 11th, Vlad Tatara. 12th, Zerai Garunian. 13th, Nuno Miguel. 14th, Simeon Naku. 15th, Yevgeny Lazarenko. 16th, João Oliveira. 17th, Paulo Ottoni. 18th, Alver Gomez Cuesta. 19th, Rafael Elite. And then the 9 Shiza boys at the back. Travis Walls will start 20th, and Stephen Cross in 21st position. We are down, it appears, 2 of the cars that had previously taken part, as I do not believe Gerardo Del Vea was on the initial grid. I would have definitely pointed him out, I think, as a long-time Battling member of ESR and 3D Speed competitor. So I'll just let you enjoy the warm-up here, although I assume we'll just get skip through the warm-up here at any moment. Grid is forming up now. Mike Stopmill will lead us away here at Suzuka. Race number 2, take 2. Here we go. There is a gap right in front of Yevgeny Lazarenko. That is the car we're waiting for, whoever that was. The answer was it was Nuno Miguel. Lights are red, lights are red, lights are green! Here we go! And it looks like a good jump from the pole sitters. Mike Stopmill, Ellison Flazino is getting swallowed up just a little bit, but will retain second place by the looks of it ahead of Hani Hickarth. Paul Riccobeni and Leo Barcelos going a little bit side by side. This is going to work out for Barcelos, I think, though, who is being shown behind Riccobeni, and now is behind Riccobeni as he makes a mistake into the S's. So Paul Riccobeni up into 4th, Barcelos to 5th, Gerardo Del Vea up to a solid 6th position in the Haribo Mercedes. Watch on Travis Wallace, Stephen Cross. Wallace making progress. He's up to 18th. Cross is up to 20th. And Wallace is scrapping with Alvar Gomez Cuesta there over 17th position. And looks like he is through. Next on his list is Yevgeny Lazarenko, who is a dogged defender if there ever was one. Ellison Flazino on the tail of Mike Stopmill. Stopmill in the front. Hani Hickarth in third, so 3 different brands in the top 3. That being said, it's very Mercedes heavy after that, with Paul Riccobeni being the only non-Mercedes that we see till 8th place. 9th place. In fact, 10th is a Mercedes, 12th is a Mercedes, so very Mercedes heavy up front. But they are not leading the way because it is Corvette leading Audi at the very front of the pack, proving that the driver is still more important than the car. João Castanheira in 7th place, trailing the fellow Mercedes of Gerardo Del Vea. Let's see if Gerardo can hold him off for the time being. And keep an eye on Travis Wallace and Stephen Cross. They are much faster than their dead last qualifying position would indicate, and they should be coming through the grid over time here. Hani Hickarth, we are the man on board with him. He is the top Mercedes. 3rd place. Mercedes AMG, very, very strong car. Ronnie is, he's wiggling a lot through the S's. Doesn't seem to be particularly slow, but does appear to be struggling a bit for grip. That will do his tires no real favors, and just in general his pace no real favors. We have seen the Mercedes fade as the race goes on with tire issues, so he may want to check that as best as he can. Leo Barcelos putting the pressure on Paul Riccobeni in the lovely flamed pattern Corvette Z06. Stephen Cross has made his way past Paolo Ottoni into 19th position, so he is coming through the grid. And Ronnie Hickarth is overtaking Ellison Flazino, who is off the track a little bit there. Mistake by Flazino, I imagine, pushing a little bit too hard to try to keep ahead of the Mercedes train, and also try to reel in Mike Stopmill at the front of the pack. I'm going to need another refill of my beverage at some point here in the near future, so if I go silent, that is what is happening. Getting a little bit of a lag there, a little bit of lack of frame rate. Not sure what's up with that when we were focusing on Leo Barcelos there, so maybe a little bit of a lag issue. Flazino on the tail of Ronnie Hickarth, or Hani Hickarth. Pardon me to use the Brazilian pronunciation. Stephen Cross has slipped back behind Paolo Ottoni, so a mistake there by the Callaway C7 driver has put him back to 21st position. João Castanheira looking for a way around the Haribo car of Gerardo Del Vea. As they look to keep up with Leo Barcelos and Paolo Riccobeni. Barcelos still putting the pressure on. Can he get the job done? Castanejera just behind that, putting the pressure on Del Valle. And the man in the background there is Orlando Telharo, who's sticking with the group. Martin Oliveira is dribbling back. And under pressure from Jonte Mendez Alves, who has not had a good opening couple laps. I believe he qualified somewhere quite a bit, a couple spots higher than the 10th he currently runs in. Then it is Vlad Tatara and the lone Nissan of Zarai Garunian, who are in that batch as well, as Nuno Miguel, João Oliveira, and then there's a little bit drop back to a Simeon Neku, Yevgeny Lazarenko, Travis Wallace, Alvaro Gomez Cuesta, Paulo Otoni train, with Stephen Cross further back of that, and Rafael Lit further back of that. So no pit stops after the opening lap, which is nice to see, as everyone has gotten through things cleanly so far. A lot of shaking going on from Leo Barcelos. I think there is, a connection issue going on there that may hinder the Brazilian's progress through the grid, but he is a game driver, very aggressive, and there he is trying to go for it against Paul Riccobeni. He's going to have the inside here. Nope, he's going to tuck back in behind, so nothing going yet. João Castanejera also on the attack against Gerardo Del Valle. The Brazilian flag flying proud with 3 in the top 5. Here comes Castanejera. He's looking to set up maybe a move here into the Degnas, but he is giving Del Valle the inside line. Goes to the outside, goes off the track, and does complete the pass. A little bit cheeky, though, with what is probably a track cut. But Castanejera up into 6th place for the time being. We'll see if Del Valle has a response for Haribu. And Orlando Telharo in the background there in the Mobile 1 Zack Speed livery Mercedes. Paul Riccobeni is inching closer to Ellison Flazino, who's dropped a fair ways off of Hanier Karth. So the pace in qualifying has not necessarily been matched here in race trim by Ellison Flazino. Zeno going defensive here into turn 1, but nothing really forthcoming from Riccobeni at this time. Some shuffling going on at the back as Travis Wallace is coming through the grid up to 14th now. Wallace on a charge and all over the back of Yevgeny Lazarenko, who's actually also coming through the grid. So he has not gotten past Lazarenko, yet they have moved up a number of positions, kind of in tandem. Lazarenko now up to 13th, Wallace to 14th. Their next target will be Zarai Garunian in the Nissan. Alvaro Gomez Cuesta having a very tight battle with Paulo Otoni. George Oliveira and Nuno Miguel have dropped very far back, so I think perhaps problems for them. And the man who is now in last, Stephen Cross. What is up with Stephen Cross? I thought he would come through the grid, but that last lap was a 2:17.8 from him. That is quite poor, if we're being honest. Simeon Naku dropping back. Briefly, we're showing off the tracks, so definitely problems for Naku, who has dropped back to 17th position and will be rejoining ahead of João Oliveira by Paulo Otoni. See the wiggle of Barcelos' car, again suggesting a potential lag issue. Either that or just a complete lack of front-end grip, which is going to really wear the tires over time. And we still have, we're 6 laps in the bag, and we'll probably be looking at another 24, 25 laps. Leo Barcelos still on the tail of Paul Riccobenni. And that is Jonta Mendes Alves putting the pressure on against Martin Oliveira in the Porsche. Vlad Tatar in the background there, and Sarai Garunian is the Nissan, and behind them are the closing Porsche of Yevgeny Lazarenko and the Z06 of Travis Wallace. Travis Wallhacks, or the future squirrel paste within the entirety of the Western Hemisphere. Jonta Mendes Alves still looking for a way around, but he doesn't. I think he needs to look at setting himself up for a straightaway run, though. He's kind of lining him up for like turns, and that Porsche is very good in the turns. That's where Martin Oliveira has the advantage. You can see he has very little movement here through the S's. Very tight line, whereas Alves is the one sliding a little bit. Vlad Tatara lining up in behind them still, lying in wait. Meantime, it does definitely seem like Ellison Flazino is the cork in the bottle here, holding up Paul Riccobenni and Leo Barcelos, despite having started on the front row. He has just not managed to translate that pace into the race. His last lap, not bad though, actually. I mean, he ran a 2:01.9, but 2:01.15 and a 2:01.4 for the two cars behind him. So they are a couple of tenths quicker, it would seem. And he's losing ground to the front runners because Ronnie Acart did a 2:01.3, and it was a 2:09 fastest lap of the race for Mike Stockman. Travis Wallace looks like he's finally gotten through on Yevgeny Lazarenko. That'll be for 13th position. Wallace had to start at the back after not getting a qualifying lap in, along with Stephen Cross. It's worked out for him. It's not worked out too well for Stephen Cross, who is on a bit of a charge himself. He's up to 18th, and it looks like we've lost Nuno Miguel from the race. Let's have a look and see if I'm correct on that detail. Yes, I am. Nuno Miguel in the Black Falcon Lincoln Park car out of the race. So we are down to 20. Flazino still hanging on, but you can see he's definitely under pressure. He's cracking. He's making mistakes. It's letting Riccobeni have openings. It's letting Barcelos have openings. Can they capitalize, though? And can they capitalize before Hakarth and Stopmill have just disappeared too far ahead? Because you can see Hakarth is about 5 seconds ahead of this battle, and he is about 3 seconds behind Mike Stopmill, so it's 8 seconds to the race lead if they can get through now. Jonta Mendez-Alves having some problems still in these S's, losing a little bit of grip there, and that's going to let Martin Oliveira get away a little bit. And here is Barcelos putting the pressure on against Paul Riccobeni. They have dropped back a little bit. Their scrapping has allowed Ellison Flazino to escape a little bit down the road despite a terrible 2:03.1 for Flazino. These three cars are just absolutely murdering their chances of a good result here because they are going slow. Very, very slow. To put it in perspective, João Castanheira and Gerardo Delvea are running about a half second faster, and they're the cars directly behind them who have not really been able to keep with them all race. They're running 202s, which are not impressive. These cars are capable of running 201s, but they're down in the 203s because of their squabbling over that third position, and it's costing them big. Will it end up costing them positions? It hasn't yet. But João Castanheira, Gerardo Delvea are getting very close. And then Orlando Telhero, I think, is also closing out. Let's see here. What lap did Telhero? Oh, Castanheira off the track. So that is bad news for João Castanheira. Let's have a quick check-in with him. So he's regained the track. Looks like he went off in the chicane. And has given up a position to Gerardo Delvea as well as Orlando Telhero. So Castanheira pushing a little bit too hard. Leo Barcelos is all lower the back of Paul Riccobeni, but I don't think it's necessarily actually working for them. They ran that last lap. Flazino is getting clear again. Flazino's back in the 201s. He ran a 201.6. So he's doing a great job of making this work for him. He's got about a second and a half cushion now because of the battle between Barcelos and Paul Riccobeni. There is Vlad Tatara. He is on the attack against Jonta Mendez-Alves, who is unable to find a way around Martin Oliveira and is now lost out pretty bigly because now he's got Vlad Tatara, the Ukrainian, on his tail looking for a move. Travis Wallace is catching this group quite quickly. He's got the gap down to 1.4 seconds to the Nissan of Sarai Garunian, and Lazarenko fading a bit back, but still about a second back there. Tatara looking to slip down the inside. Nothing doing at this time. Looking to go around the outside of the hairpin. That's a brave move. Oliveira made a mistake in the hairpin. That's going to expose him to a possible attack from both Mendez-Alves and Tatara. We will see if they can make it happen. Vlad Tatara looking to get through here. The Audi Sport Team WRT entry. Vlad Tatara setting up for a possible inside run here against Mendez-Alves. Nothing happening yet. Garunian and Wallace are right on the back of this now, and Yevgeny Lazarenko is getting closer. He is in the mix. Back at the front, Paul Riccobeni and Barcelos are still struggling, and it's letting Flazino get away. Flazino up to 2.6 seconds now. Martin Oliveira barely hanging on against Jonta Mendez-Alves, who does not force the issue at this time. There is Leo Barcelos, fastest lap of 2:01.4. That last lap, they are back at the 201s at least, 201.8, 201.6. So they have calmed down. The squabbling is a little bit down. They'll see if they can reel back in Flazino here at some point. Sometimes attack doesn't really work out for you. Castanheira and Naku are off. Castanheira is out of the race. Is Naku out of the race? Yes, he is. So we have lost 2 more cars, and the field is down to 18 after the original 21 starters. Still better than the aborted race that we had commentated on earlier on. Leo Barcelos is on the attack again. He either needs to get by or kind of just let Riccobeni run for a bit because, as much as that 4th place would be nice, you got to think that Barcelos is thinking podium is an option here. They were right up on the back of Flazino. They may want to just declare a little bit of a truce and try and run up to him for the time being. Jonta Mendez-Alves is up into 9th place. Oliveira into 8th. That's because, of course, Castanheira out of the race. He was running in the top 10, so that battle is now for a position higher, but nothing has actually changed at the time being on the matter. Congratulations to Stephen Cross, up to 16th place. He's got Paolo Ottoni next on his list, but he is 12 seconds behind. Not sure what's up with Stephen Cross. He's a fast driver, but he is not delivering right now. Ran a 2:02.7. Last lap, fastest lap of the race is a 2:02.2 from him, which is not up to his standards. Leo Barcelos, once again, looking to make a run on Paul Riccobeni. You can see the shake of the car. Not sure if that's lag related or a lack of front end grip. I have to assume it's lag related. Haribu, Gerardo Delvea back in 6th place. He is on his own and having a pretty boring time after Castanera's accident. And the battle continues here. This is still the battle for 4th place, but it could be a battle for a podium if they just reel in Flazino a little bit. Let's see what they did last time around. Okay, they're pretty solidly in the 201s now. 201.8 for Riccobeni, 201.6 for Barcelos. So this is no longer holding up Barcelos, I don't think. The 201.6 is just off of his best lap, which is a 201.4. So definitely 201.492, as you can see there actually on the screen. So he is not really losing pace now as he puts the pressure on Paul Riccobeni. But once that pace starts to be lost, you have to think that keeping up with Flazino might be a better option than just simply pressuring Riccobeni. There's plenty of time left. You know you have the pace. 38 minutes is a long time, but if Flazino starts to disappear in the distance, there goes your opportunity at a podium. Mike Stockmill continues to lead from Hani Hikart. Not much going on for either of them, having a pretty boring day, but the battle for 4th place is on. The battle for 9th place is on, or 8th place is on between Martin Oliveira, Jonathan Mendez Alves. Wallace and Lazarenko have both gotten through on Tatara, and Garunian has dropped back to 14th, so I think maybe a touch between the Ukrainians, Vlad Tatara and Yevgeny Lazarenko, has kicked things off. Alves is off. Travis Wallace up another spot. Yevgeny Lazarenko right on his tail. Tatara on his tail after that. And then it's Alvar Gomez Cuesta who's now in this fight suddenly. Leo Barcelos still putting the pressure on against Paul Riccobeni that last lap, though they are losing time, but that is also because Flazino just put up his best lap of the race at 2:01.1. He was the second fastest guy that lap. The fastest was the race leader with a 2:09 for Mike Stockmill. Not his fastest, but he's still definitely, and there's a 2:08 for Stockmill that time around. So Stockmill putting pedal to the metal, invalid lap from Hani Hikart, so he tripped up somewhere along the line. 2:01.3 for Flazino. And then back into the 2:02s, the 2:02.4s for Riccobeni and Barcelos. So again, this battle is costing them time to the podium. Yevgeny Lazarenko has lost a spot to Vlad Tatara somewhere along the line, and it looks like Oliveira and Wallace are trying to make their battle a little more private. At the front, we may have lost Rafael Leet from the race. Indeed, we have. The SLS Mercedes is done. Was running in last place pretty much the whole day, but hopefully that is just not a rage quit, and there was actually a proper reason on the matter. Oliveira a little bit of side-by-side with Travis Wallace, unable to get through at this time as Wallace, but he's got the pressure on, and he has to think that, you know what, he's been charging all day. He's got a 2:01 as his fastest lap. He's got pace. He needs to get through here. He's being held up. Can he make it happen? But then he's going to face the similar problem that Barcelos and Riccobeni are facing to a certain degree, and that is how much do you press the advantage. By the way, a mistake by Hani Hikart has brought him back into the Flazino trap a little bit. Seems to be running back fine now, but definitely a bit of a mistake there. Barcelos and Riccobeni running, doing okay. Not really mixing it up this lap. We'll see what their lap times are compared to Flazino, who is absolutely on one of his best runs of the race. Trying to secure that podium position, and maybe, just maybe, putting a bit of pressure on Hani Hikart. Here is Travis Wallace still on the tail of the Porsche of Martin Oliveira. So he's traded one Porsche for another Porsche as far as the pressure is concerned. Looking to the outside, Oliveira takes the racing line. Here they go. not the cleanest run through that turn I've seen from Travis Wallace. He loses a little bit of ground. Into the chicane they go. In the background, that is Alvar Gomez Cuesta is overtaking Lazarenko, but Lazarenko getting the spot back. Zerai Garunian takes Jonta Mendez Alves for 13th position, though they trade that back. So it looks like the Nissan was unable to hold it this time. Oh, no, he is through. So there we go. Mistake by Mendez Alves. Maybe shortcutting the chicane because he did come up with an invalid lap time. No, it was valid. No, it is invalid. Okay, there you go. So lap time, quick chart here. Losing ground to Flazino again. Flazino still very quick at a 2:01.4. Took a second and a half out of Hani Hikart that lap. Hikart at a 2:09. And at the front, a 1:4 for Stockmill. Alvar Gomez Cuesta, he suddenly has become a big player here. He's behind the Ukrainians, Vlad Tatara and Yevgeny Lazarenko, and ahead of another Ukrainian, Zerai Garunian. That section of the field is very, very blue and yellow right now with the Ukrainian flag. And Alvar Gomez Cuesta is a foreign invader right now and in an interesting spot in 12th place. Paul Riccobeni has lost the spot to Leo Barcelo, so we have lost that battle for the time being. But Riccobeni coming back at him, and I'm going to turn the auto director off and get us firmly fixed on this battle because I think this is the most interesting thing happening on the track right now. But for the time being, it is Barcelos' advantage. Alvar Gomez Cuesta went off the track a little bit and has lost a spot to the Ukrainian driven car of Zerai Garunian. Garunian is pressuring Yevgeny Lazarenko. There is no loyalty amongst nationalities, that is for sure. Jontes Mendez Alves has also taken over against Gomez Cuesta, who's also lost a spot to Paolo Ottoni. So bad luck for that particular car. Is Ottoni in the classic Audi? A quick look at something here. He is! That is the older LMS Ultra Audi car. So things going well for that legacy car at the moment. Zerai Garunian putting the pressure on Yevgeny Lazarenko, but for time being it appears like he has lost out. Travis Wallace has gotten past the Porsche of Martin Oliveira and is now up into 8th position. Ride on the bumper. Travis Wallace, 8th place at the moment. And there's the bumper of Martin Oliveira, just in behind him. Get a couple of the more exotic camera shots here, a little bit of helicopter work perhaps. Martin Oliveira running in 9th position. Behind Travis Wallace, there is Vlad Tatara in behind them. They have somewhat broken away from the battle between Lazarenko and Tatara up a spot there as I was not looking at the screen, so perhaps you can tell me if Martin Oliveira just made a massive mistake. And I think he asked you because Lazarenko now has a run against him. And contact between Lazarenko and Oliveira is opening the door possibly for Zerai Garunian in the Nissan, who's coming in behind them. Can he get through? He's going to have a grunt advantage. That Nissan is a beast on the straightaways, but the Porsches are very good in the turns. Lazarenko's been coming through the grid. Oliveira has been slipping back, although has had a pretty solid race so far, still running in 10th place. Alvar Gomez Cuesta is heavily damaged, so let's have a quick look at his car. Let's see if we can get a look at what is the matter with Alvar Gomez Cuesta's car. Oh, well, he's retired it, whatever the problem is. So there's your answer. Lazarenko still putting the pressure on his fellow Porsche. Martin Oliveira, contact! A little bit of dirty pool. I'm not sure how the stewards will see that. Zerai Garanian is through. Oliveira back down to 12th. A little brand-on-brand violence. Lazarenko gets the job done. Moves ahead of Zerai Garanian. I have to take a closer look at that to see what the stewards might have thought about that whole matter, but there was definitely some side-on contact there. Paulo Otoni putting the pressure on Jonta Mendez Alves. Stephen Cross is catching them from behind. Cross running a 2:02.5 last lap to their 2:03, so he's catching up in about 1 second per lap. Zerai Garanian sets off after Yevgeny Lazarenko. Stop mill at the front by 9 seconds now over Hania Karth. Flozino, Riccobeni has gotten past Barcelos, so it looks like Barcelos has made a mistake. This is back closer to Del Valle now. Orlando Teljeros 7, Travis Wallace, Vlad Tatar, Lazarenko. That is your top 10. The Ukrainians dominating 9th through 11th at the moment. Paulo Otoni we ride on board with in the Kangaroo Audi, Phoenix Racing style. Putting the pressure on Jonta Mendez Alves, who was looking like a top 10 guy for quite some time. Back in 13th now after a couple of mistakes of his own. And that's been a little bit of a problem for him. And they are losing ground to Stephen Cross. And you can see in the background there in the red Callaway Corvette. There is Otoni. This is the closest battle on the track right now. Paulo Otoni versus Jonta Mendez Alves. We also do have Zerai Garanian about a half second out from Yevgeny Lazarenko, and that's sweet, sweet, sweet top 10 position. Fifteen cars running of the 21 that started the race. We seem to have lost connection with somebody as well. And there are 5 cars in the pit lane. Alvar Gomez Cuesta, Rafael Lis, João Castanheira, Simeon Neku, and Nuno Miguel are out of the race. Lazarenko's been promoted a spot, so who is it that we have lost? Not sure. Travis Wallace! We've lost Travis Wallace is out of the race. DC on Travis Wallace's part. Bad news for the Z06 crew. He has dropped from the race, leaving them with just 2 top 10 cars and only 2 cars remaining in total because they've already lost Simeon Nagu. Additionally, Martin Oliveira has dropped back to 13th place. So problems for Oliveira at some point. Once again. He is definitively in the clutches of Stephen Cross. Cross lapping very quickly right now. Cross is lapping at a 2:02.3 for comparison purposes. That is faster than everyone on the track, except for race leader Mike Stoppel, by a pretty good margin. Honey Kart's kind of in the same ballpark, also lapping at within a 1/10 of a second of Cross. But everyone else is might as well be standing still right now. Minutes to go. We are past the halfway mark. Martin Oliveira forcing his way past Paulo Otoni. Stephen Cross and Otoni getting very physical. Stephen Cross has to cut the track. That was a little bit... I don't think it was a great move by Otoni because with the relative paces here, I can't imagine he's actually going to be able to hold off Cross for very long. That may have just made him angry. In the meantime, a mistake by Otoni, who's dropped off the back of Mendez Alves. And another mistake there at the second Degna. Is he going to try to defend hard against Stephen Cross? The answer is yes. More contact between the two. Into the hairpin. Otoni gets shoved out wide. And I think somewhat rightfully so, as that was some hard defending. Not illegal, necessarily by any stretch of the imagination, but physical by Otoni, who's not done yet. Trying to get that legacy LMS Ultra still into contention here. Now has dropped back to Stephen Cross. Cross up to 13th position. Zarai Garunian has dropped a little bit back of Vlad Tatar and Yevgeny Lazarenko. Not under any pressure from behind. Maybe just studying their lines, waiting for a potential move to come to him. There we go back to Otoni. I don't think there's really anything going on for Paolo Otoni right now. Stephen Cross right now is one of the fastest men on the track, and there they head through the chicane. We will see Cross. I believe this will be an invalid lap time, unfortunately, as he took a shortcut across the grass there. Let's see. Martin Oliveira back on the attack, looking for 11th place against Jonta Mendez-Alves. These two, of course, were battling in the top 10 earlier in this race, and Martin has overcooked it. And that is going to let Mendez-Alves through, and I believe also Stephen Cross through. Stephen Cross's last lap was, as I suspected, invalid. Martin Oliveira, is he in the pit lane? Has he called it a day? He has. Martin Oliveira down. We're down to 14 cars. They're dropping like stones here. Very weird, because it didn't look like Oliveira had significant damage. That just appears to be Parkett had enough for the day. Don't know what else to tell you on that matter. As Zarai Garunian continues to run in 10th position. I was going to say it looked like Hania Kart was putting pressure on Mike Stabmill, but no, they're 10 seconds apart. That must have just been a brief lag moment. And indeed, Stabmill is lapping about a half second faster than Hickarth, so I don't think that there's remotely anything to play for there, although the gap is now closing, so Stabmill may be off the track, maybe a mistake. But for the time being, leading the race, Paul Riccobeni still in third. And you can see what I mean, though, by the Flozino thing. These two are now like almost 10 seconds behind Ellis and Flozino in a podium position because of their scrapping. And it's not because they're slower than Flozino, because they are lapping faster than Flozino right now. So, yeah, by a couple of tenths. Stephen Cross's next target is Jonta Mendez-Alves. The Callaway C7 is up to 12th position after a hard-fought battle with Paolo Otoni and overtaking the now retired Martin Oliveira. In fact, it looks like Mendez-Alves may have made a mistake and is dropping like a stone. Let's have a quick look at what's going on there. Mendez-Alves, he's back on, but he's lost a spot to Cross. I wonder if he just gave up the position because, of course, Stephen Cross, still one of the fastest men on the track. That lap was a 2:02.8. For comparison purposes, only 3 cars were faster that lap, which are the top 2 and Leo Barcelos. So, very quick work for Stephen Cross right now. Shake of the shame fist, though, from the announcer to Martin Oliveira, and honestly, anyone else who was pulled off during this lap, or during this race, because honestly, and I could be wrong here, but it didn't look like anyone had significant damage. Just looks like giving up on the day. Maybe the hour being a little bit later here due to the change in time with the aborted first race is playing havoc on them. Leo Barcelos right now, one of the fastest men on the track. He's back up on Paul Riccobeni. And I've been anti-Barcelos' attacking philosophy on Riccobeni. Now I am, of course, all for, because at this point he has lost the chance to catch a podium, I think, without major mistakes by Ellis and Flozino. So we're talking, what, 10, 11 laps to go in this race? Flozino 11 plus seconds up ahead. He would have to catch him at like a second a lap, and I don't think he has that kind of pace, because Flozino is running very respectable lap times right now at 2:02.4 last time around. And Barcelos' lap time this time around is also is a 2:02.7, being held up by Riccobeni. So he's losing ground to Flozino. So he needs to get past Riccobeni to salvage something from this race now. I just feel like he should have waited a lot longer, and then this moment would come up when they were still close to a potential podium. That's all I'm saying from like a tactical standpoint of this race. 14 cars still running, and my hat goes off to all of them because this has been a long, hard race. They're doing a great job out here on track. It's been For the most part, pretty clean. There's been some things I think were maybe a little bit untoward, a little bit non-kosher, but we'll see what happens in the stewarding room after the race. Barcelos continues to run on the tail of Paul Riccobetti. These are the only two cars on the track that are within a second of each other, so we'll be sticking with this for a while, would be my guess. See if Leo Barcelos can get the job done against the Z06 American Paul Riccobetti. Like I said, very good day for the Brazilians. 3 in the top 5. They have 5 still running with Jonta Mendes Alves and Paulo Ottoni a little bit further back there in 13th and 14th. Or 12th and 13th. 14 cars still running. Let that take nothing away from the guys in the top 10. They've had all fantastic races. Absolutely driving on the limit, getting things done. But the class of the field has been Mr. Mike Stoppmill, who again, fastest of that last lap, the only guy sub 2:02. And now 13, almost 14 seconds ahead of Lonnie Hickarth. Hickarth is under pressure from Flazino, though, so Flazino's been running some very good laps lately. 2:02 that last time around. And no longer has to worry about this battle between Riccobetti and Barcelos. Lazarenko is creeping into that 1 second area against Vlad Tatara. In fact, there's the switch over to the 9th place car. And in behind them, Nissan of fellow countryman Zarai Garunian. It's the Ukraine freight train, 8th through 10th. Is Stephen Cross closing on them, though? Yeah, Stephen Cross is closing on them quite a bit. Stephen Cross' last lap was a 2:07. A 2:02.7 to like 2:04 is being run by. Oh, and Zarai Garunian out of the race. What the heck? He shows heavy. Oh no, he's not out of the race, but he has buried it in the wall. What can he do? Jonta Mendes Alves gets a warning for ignoring slowdown penalties. He will face a drive-through penalty. Garunian heavily damaged front end. With 17 minutes to go, he's in dead last place. Does he pit and try to just put the absolute pedal to the metal here? Maybe even some fresh tires and just go for it. I don't know. I don't think he can catch up with that car in the state that it's in right now. Leo Barcelos, by the way, is on a massive attack against Paul Riccobetti. We will go back to that in a sec. I'm very interested to look at the handling of this Nissan, though. Can it get around easily without a front end? Would he be better off going to the pit lane and trying to run down Oliveira and Ottoni and maybe Mendes Alves the old-fashioned way? But I don't know. I mean, 16 minutes to go. It's not enough time, but can you enjoy driving the car like this? That's the other question that you have to ask yourself, because that car cannot be pleasant to drive right now. Very, very damaged. He's not catching anyone. He's not losing any spots by pitting. Personally, I would probably go to the pit lane and try to just absolutely wing it full on for the remainder of the race. But we'll see what Zarai Garunian and his team decide to do in the lone Nissan. Terrible for the brand, and it does look like he is heading down the pit lane now to get a new front end. So he is going to make what, in my opinion, is the only real choice that makes sense and try to fix the car up. Pick up Paul Riccobetti, who has seen off another challenge from Leo Barcelos. Barcelos now quite a ways in the background. Good luck to Zarai Garunian. Unless he is elected to possibly retire the car, he has faded out of existence. could mean that he's just elected to park it. Nope, he's fixing the car. He's doing it the proper way. And in the meantime, Ellison Flazino has taken over second place. I was crapping on him earlier in the race because I thought his early race performance was not up to snuff for a guy who qualified P2, but he has charged back. He has taken the fight to Hani Akarth, and he has the Brazilian bragging rights right now. He is the guy in second place. Zerai Garunian rejoins a lap down on the leaders, but yeah, he's about a minute behind João Oliveira. I don't think there's really anything going for him on there, but I don't know if running around without the front end was really the way to go. Like, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine that he was going to catch up to João Oliveira with that damaged front end, and I can't imagine he was going to have a lot of fun racing that car. So Ellison Flazino up into second position, doing a great job representing Brazil. Hani Akarth, I don't think quite done with him. We have not seen, I don't think, Junta Mendes Alves come in for his drive-through penalty in relation to ignoring yellow flags, so we'll be looking for that. He is currently running in 12th, and indeed that might be him coming in now. Let's pick him up as he's dropped back to 13th position. There he is. Drive-through penalty for the HTP Motorsports car of Junta Mendes Alves for ignoring slowdowns, actually, I believe was the case. So a violation of his slow down penalties. A bit of a foolish error, which has relegated him to about 13 seconds behind George Oliveira. And just ahead of Zerai Garunian, who of course made that pit stop to replace his front end. Hani Akarth, 13 minutes to go. He has lost second place. Can he do something about it? He's got a very solid car under him. But the AMGs we have seen have faded towards the end of races, and I think we're seeing it again. We see him losing out to Flazino. We've seen Barcelo start to drift back of Paul Riccobeni. Maybe the AMG is just not able to take care of the tires in the same way that would be ideal. Yevgeny Lazarenko still flirting with possibly a run here against Vlad Titara towards the end of the race. There is Akarth. He is still running in third position. He is a very comfortable third position. He could still get second. And we will see if he has anything in store for Ellison Flazino. Just gazing down the lap times here to see if anyone's... Oh, Stephen Cross off the track or possibly in the pit. No! We have been disconnected. I don't know if the server entirely went down. I saw that Stephen Cross lost connection. I don't know. This may be the end of the video. I hope it's not, but I don't know if we really want to go through another hour-long race, though. So we'll have to find out. And I will, if I don't come back, I will post it in the description as to what ended up happening.